Hey, beautiful people. How are you? I'm having to use this Chromebook because my phone said I don't have enough storage. Can you believe that? So I tried to start on the phone and it cut off. So here I am. But anyway, I hope you all had a super blessed day. I'm recording this on August the 8th, which is considered Lionsgate. And so that's what I want to talk just a little bit about. I have my notes here. I hope you can hear me okay. But the Lionsgate portal is a cosmic event that occurs every year between July 28th and August the 12th, and the 8th being the peak. It's where you get 8-8. Some people call it the 8-8 portal. It takes place when the sun is in Leo, the earth and Orion's belt and the star is all lined up, which is activated by the rising of the star Sirius. Since this happens when the sun is in the Leo season, the sign known for strength and determination, thus the name Lionsgate Portal. Now, I wanted to briefly touch on that. You may have heard those words 8-8 Portal or Lionsgate. Um, but I was thinking, we take our clues sometimes from nature. If you watch National Geographic, you see the lions, the tigers, the bears, how they interact, how their order of their system is. And so a lot of times we can take their way of doing things and apply it to us to see what is natural in nature, so to speak. And so with that, I was thinking, why can't we take the same aspect from the astrological side? With these things all lining up, how do we line up within ourselves? Are we in alignment with something that is making sense? Are we in alignment with where we want to go? And eight being infinity, um, thinking long term, where we are currently, the way we carry ourselves, the way we act, the way we think. Is it or does it have some longevity in it where you are currently? The purpose of this is always for evolution, for higher consciousness, awareness, a different level of wokeness, so to speak. The name of this title is going to be You're Your Own Worst Critic. Because a lot of times, what we tell ourselves is not or the way we talk to ourselves is not always the same way that we talk to our neighbor. Because we can encourage our neighbor, yeah, you can do it. I believe in you. I have faith in you. Yeah, you can do it. You should try it. Wouldn't hurt to try. But then when it comes to us, we tend to criticize ourselves. Well, what if we're not good enough? Or what if this doesn't work? Um, and so we can be critical and tend to look at the negative side of things. But with that, that's just between you and yourself. You wouldn't readily share those things with other people. So it's sort of like a internal thing that we do for ourselves. And this is something else that I was thinking about. We can get into situations of the what if, and the what if can keep us stuck, and in the holding pattern, and a stuck mentality. So we've heard of what ifs, right? And we experience what ifs, and we've heard of they. They are going to say this, or they are going to think this. Now, this is what I was thinking. You might have to do your own research and let me know, see how it resonates with you. But I'm thinking that what if and they are related some kind of way. They might be some distant cousins, they might be some in-laws, outlaws, some type of thing, but I think they in the same family dynamic because them two always have their mouth in something, right? We always can stir up a what if to prevent us from doing something. We can always come up with a they to keep us from doing something, right? So I'm thinking they're in cahoots together. They're in cahoots together. So when I was talking about holding ourselves back, we hold ourselves back with our limited beliefs. We hold ourselves back with our thoughts. When we have the resources, when I say resources at our fingertips, we can get on Google and look up anything. Even before I got on here, I was doing a Google. I had a question, and I'm thinking I'll just go on Google. I'll get on Google and find the answer. So we have the resources. Whether if it's more schooling that we need, more training for something, we have the resources to soar. We have the resources to be all that we can be. You know, um, we have the resources to be great. But if we choose not to, and we hold our own self back, it's because we're being critical of our own self, and we're our own worst critics sometimes. Being critical of our own selves, not giving ourselves the chance or the opportunity to fail. You know, not that we set out to fail. That's not what our intentions are, and our intentions are never to fail. But sometimes that's inevitable. But even through the failure or the tower moments, as I call it, you know, it causes us to take a step back. You know, with these tower moments, um, if you have a tower and it falls, you have to check the foundation. Um, and so that's what we do in our everyday life. If something is falling apart, if something's not working, something's not coming together, we need to check the foundation of that. Check what has been holding this together. You know, did we build a house on sinking sand? Did we not count the costs before we went to war? Are we guilty of those things? You know, and if so, that's a learning lesson. When you go out again, you know that your foundation is going to be sure. But a lot of times, what happens is we hold on to that tower moment and we hold it and we keep it dear to our heart, because that tower moment, those feelings, those emotions that we had that was tied up with that, keeps us right there in that stuck mentality, keeps us right where we are, and prevents us from going forward. Because those feelings, those emotions that we have that is tied to it, validates where we are. That's how you can get people telling you their same story of despair or destruction, or the what if, you know, the what if scenario, or they. I think that they is my favorite. I think that was my favorite. They, you know, and you get stuck in that, or you can stay in that, and you hold on to it, because those emotions, those feelings are real. But also with that, those feelings and those emotions tell you where you are. Do some investigation when you are feeling something. Why? What are these feelings producing? What are these feelings bringing up in you? You know, that's something to think about. That would start taking these nails out of the coffin, so to speak, that has us stuck. You know, when we let go, you know, you have something in your hand, you're holding on to your hand, and you let it go. You know, you've released something. You know, what do we have to release that's been holding us back? And I feel like this is in alignment with Lionsgate. You know, because the purpose of this is to become a more powerful, stronger, and better version of ourselves. And by doing that, we do have to let things go. We have to constantly let things go. But our circumstances can keep us in a chokehold of where we are now. And where we are now is based on what has happened. There's no forward movement. There's no forward thinking, so to speak. There's no focusing on now. And when you look at it, your now gives you hope. If the tower has already fallen, right? If the tower has already fallen, what do we do now to rebuild? What do we do now to go forward? But if we stay in the stuck mentality, if we hold on to the emotions of yesteryear, and we criticize, well, it was too soon, or well, maybe I shouldn't have done this, well, you know, the what if and the what and the days again, they keep popping up. It's like you can't get rid of them, right? You can't get rid of what if and they. Might get a t-shirt made. If somebody do it, that was my idea. I'm just saying. I should get some royalties off of that. But we need to ask ourselves, what is working in our life now? How have you been blessed now? Yes, that happened. Yes, this happened. Yes, that happened. Yes, this happened. Happened mean the past tense, but what about now? You know, what is your testimony now? What is your word of encouragement now? Instead of being a critic of your life, nitpicking over every little thing of where you missed it, where have you where have you gained success at? Where have you gotten it right? Where have you gotten it right? Because that will be creating the attitude of gratitude for your now moment. You know, now as you explore or embark on this new territory, and this new territory is of your now, is of your now. Your thoughts, go back to our thoughts again, being a critic of our own self, will have you retreating back. Because what if and they, I really feel like they're at every corner. Let's just be honest. The what if and they are like everywhere. They're everywhere and they're dictating our life, so to speak. But it's on a personal level, because those are the things that we tell ourselves. Like I said, when we talk to someone else, yeah, you can do it. You can do it. So this made me think of the woman who turned her back. It was Lot's wife. Lot's wife. That might be a tongue twister. Lot's wife. She looked back and she turned into a pillar of salt. Now, with that, she was preserved because she turned to a pillar of salt and she basically became a statue. And she was preserved in what was back there, right? Because if you look back, you was not worthy to go forward. By looking back, she set her faith. And I asked myself, oh, you can ask yourself, because all this is food for thought, was she not ready to let go? Or was she not ready to embrace her now? Because there's some familiarity in the back there. You know where everything is. You know how everything works. You know how everything should go. There is some unknownness, I think that's the word, to what's ahead or what could happen. If we just tell what if and they to get out of here, get up out of our head, knock it out of our head, and we get rid of them and we step in this new territory, that newness of it can be frightening. And I feel like this is what this 8-8 portal, some people call it a portal, some people call it a gateway, an opening. I feel like this is what is speaking to us now, or how we can look at it from the astrological side of it. Things lining up. Like I said earlier, what things in our life are lining up with us to make sure that we're going forward, right? We don't want to lock our fate in the past, looking back. Because we desire to go forward. We all have a desire to go forward. We all have a desire to go big, or the next best thing, and not be mediocre, right? I don't think any of us have a desire to be mediocre, but something keeps us right, oh, where's my hand? There we go. Right below the level of us not getting up here. Something keeps us there. So, with the same one with Lot's wife, she had a desire to move forward because she was going forward. She was following her heart. Now listen to this. Her heart was saying, "Okay, I heard the instructions. This is what I need to get. What I need to do. Let's move." She began to move. This is her walking. But something in her mind, that what if? I really believe it. If the what if or they caused her to look back, and then she turns, and then she becomes a pillar of salt. So we ask ourselves, we have a desire to go forward, and sometimes we move, and then we can get stuck in this mentality of the what if, because we're being a critic of ourselves. We are we're looking at what was instead of what could be. Now, because she was moving forward, this part I thought was really good. Because she was moving forward, she was accepting her now situation, right? But because of the speed of it, so you look at it like this. She's moving, and it can feel like time is of the essence. When time is of the essence in things, we can get caught up in, well, maybe this is going too fast, or I need to think about it. But there are times when you have instructions and you just need to move, and you just need to walk by faith and not by sight. This to me is one of those times when that was called for. She, at this moment, had to walk by faith and not by sight. She was given clear instructions. So, like I said, um, my paper. Um, Now, because she was moving forward, it spoke to her now situation. She is moving, but the speed of which is happening, and I don't. And it's not even so much physically, like running, um, or time. The speed of what it was happening, I feel like it was in her mind. It's like you don't have a time, or she didn't have time to let's sit down and let's talk this out. Let's hash this over. Let's reason. Let's rationalize. Let's come up with a better solution. Let's look at all of our options and stuff. There was no time for that. It was like you need to move, but because of the speed of this, it's almost like um, actions were happening around her speed of thought. Now, I hope this is making sense. Her speed of thought was slow in wanting to digest this and let's think of this and let's do this. But because time is of the essence, she has to bypass her reasoning, rationalizing, and her thoughts on that. There was no time for what if and they sitting on the sidelines like she don't see us. That would be good. Those reels be like from the Medea movie, like, oh, she don't see us. Do you see me? Yeah, I see you. Do you see me? That is what if. That's what if and they were doing. Wanting to cause the doubt. Um, Sitting on the sidelines. She's moving, but she did succumb to that. And that's the same thing that we have to do. That same thing I feel like that we go through in life. There's something that was put on your heart, something that you were inspired to do, something that you have an unction from the Holy One that you know that you should be doing, and you may move and you may make baby steps to get there, but your mind, what if and they are sitting there speaking, getting your attention to cause you to look back or to not move, or okay, maybe we should reason and rationalize. But when you get into the things of God, when you get into the things of the Most High, when he says go, when he says speak, when he says do this and do that, he's looking for obedience. He's looking for someone to be his mouthpiece. He's not looking for someone to reason and rationalize anything. Now you're putting your part in it and missing the whole part of what he has to say. I hope I'm making sense with that. Um, so the speed at which it was happening was causing the doubt, which caused her to look back. Now that song, "Anyway they bless me, Lord, I'll be satisfied." That's the song that I was hearing when I was studying this, and we feel like that and we hold on to that and we believe it, like, yes, Lord, any way you bless me, I'll be satisfied. However the tune go, you all know it. If you don't, it's a gospel song, and all that is dandy until it disrupts our who, what, when, where, and how it is supposed to manifest in our life. So then there again, we got our hand in it, saying, well, I think it should come this way, or I'm about to tilt this down, or I think it should be like this. If I was the Lord, I would bless me like this, and then you can also begin to backtrack because the what if and they, it's just being our own worst critic. Being a critic of our own self will keep us. It would just keep us right where we are. And so we can be our own worst critic by, and I wrote a few things down just to pull it all together, put a nice little bow on it. Self-sabotage. We self-sabotage ourselves, I think, more than what we realize, because it goes back to that self-talk. It goes back to what are we telling ourselves. And what we tell ourselves is what we believe. We hold on to that. We can be our worst critic by holding on to the past, and our past hurts. because we find comfort in that. If you went through something traumatic and you came out on the other side, you will hold on to those feelings of I survived. You will hold on to those feelings of I made it. And you will hold on to those feelings of everything that you've been through, like I said, because it validates what you've been through. It made it real what you've been through. But then if we stay there, we haven't really moved past it, because you keep circling it, like the runway. You just keep circling the runway and you never land in healing. Now, when you I don't get too far in left field, but when you go through a healing, or when you are being healed of something, it's not that you can't talk about it, and it's not that it may not bring up hurt, or remembrance of it. It's just you won't stay there. You've heard that saying, I don't look like what I've been through. That is, to me, that is what healing looks like. I don't look like what I've been through. I can tell my story, or I'll tell my story from this standpoint. Can't see my hands. From this standpoint over here in healing, versus holding on to everything that I've been through. I won't get too far off in healing. The thoughts that we tell ourselves, or we entertain ourselves by, keeps us caged like a bird cage. Picture. Now, the word cage there to me was really strong when I was studying this. Our thoughts. Think of your thoughts as the bird that's inside of the cage. If you've seen birds in cages, they're not going anywhere unless you open the door. They fly around from the little swing from one place to the other. And that's what our thoughts are. Our thoughts can keep us caged. Our thoughts can keep us stuck. Because we are, now this was a thing of ways that we are our own worst critic, and that is by our thoughts. We be our own critic by our thoughts, of our self-talk, of how we talk to ourselves, how we build ourselves up, if we even build ourselves up, because we can choose to stay where we are and not go anywhere. Just a little sidetrack here. Things that are true, things that are honest, things that are just, pure, lovely, of a good report. If there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. So ask yourself, are those things in your cage? Is that something, that list that I just went through, are those the things that you would want in your cage that you keep locked? Things that are true, that are honest, that are just, pure, lovely, of a good report. If there be any virtue, if there be any praise, or any of those things in your cage that you are thinking on, that is consuming your thoughts. That's something to ask ourselves. That was just a short list of ways how we're our own critic, by having negative thoughts in our cage, so to speak. It allows us to be critical of ourselves. We tend to look at our flaws, whether we voice them or not. We still walk around with them. All right. So then I have, like I said, people call it different things. That 8-8 portal, doorway, the gateway, the lion's gate, will teach us and ask us these questions. What will we continue to hold us back? Limited thinking, the self-sabotage that I was thinking of. With self-sabotage, I think sometimes we might not even be aware of how that's working. You have an opportunity, you see something that you want to go for, but then who shows up? Exactly. Them two. I don't think they're twins. I think they got to be like some cousins. I'm going to say they're cousins. What if and they show up? And then you begin the self-sabotage, which is the doubt. So let's ask ourselves during this season. So I'm recording this on 8-8. And that's supposed to be the peak of it. It goes on to August the 12th. But during this week, or up until the 12th, during this time, because like I said, we're taking a view of this from the astrological side or viewpoint, just like how we look at nature for things. That's what this is. Of how we align up. How are we lining up within ourselves? Ask ourselves that. Or this way, how are we lining up with ourselves? How are we lining up within ourselves? All right, what traumas are we holding on to? What traumas are we holding on to? What foundations need to be reconstructed? What foundations need to be restructured? I put restructured or reconstructed in our life. What needs to be done to our foundation? Do we have a sure foundation? But then as we begin to build, things are getting topsy turvy, and then we need to break it back down to our foundation. Have we allowed what if and they to build on our solid foundation? That's something we should ask ourselves. That's another question. What is it that you wish to throw caution to and pursue those desires? That was a little tongue twister. What is it that you wish to throw caution to? Be like, whatever. I'm not thinking about what if. I'm not thinking about they, and I'm going to pursue those desires that's always been there, right? What are we? How are we going to loosen the grips of fear so that we can go after what we desire? What signs are we ignoring? That's something to ask yourself. During this time, what signs are we ignoring? How you're driving down the road, you're working, you're doing whatever activities, and then you can find yourself into a meditative state, which is basically you've just calmed your mind. You can be aware at times that you're not thinking of anything. And I know some people say, well, you can never not think of something. Well, meaning you're not engaging in the thoughts of something. You can let the thoughts float by, so to speak, or you can let the thoughts come and go, but you're not entertaining the thought, giving words to it, giving more ideas to it. That's what I mean. Just let the thoughts go freely, right? So, but during those times is when you will hear things, that small, still voice. That's how you would know his voice, right? Be still and know that I'm God. Those small, still voice. When that is happening, when those words come during that state, you will realize, or you will see, you would become aware of what you have been ignoring. And it'll be like a light bulb coming on. Like, this is what I've been ignoring in my life. And like saying, these meditative states. When you're driving down the road on your way to work, on your way home, to the grocery store, whatever, during those quiet times, I call those meditative states. You will then begin to hear things that are going to help you on your path. And a lot of times those things are things that you've been ignoring. All right. What are you controlling? I think we spoke on this last time about the threefold cord, and with that, I don't know if I articulated well, but that threefold cord, you picture a cord with all those strands, to all those strands to make up that cord. It's not easily broken, and if our thoughts are the same way, and with that, it can be controlling to the point where this is what I think, this is what I believe, my way or the highway. And in some cases that works, and some cases it don't. If you want to go from point A to point B, we might have to stop and ask ourselves, what ways am I being controlling where I'm not allowing these things, like I said, things that are true, honest, just, pure, lovely, of a good report, any praise, am I allowing any of those things to flow into my life? But because I have a death grip on control, I can't even recognize it when it come, or if it do come, then we put that in the what if and the they category. Right? And then what are you hesitating hesitating in offering? What are you hesitating in offering? You know, have you offered yourself to a place of consecration? Have you offered yourself to in a time of, like I said, a meditative state or a time of quietness? Have you even offered yourself in those things so that you can have the opportunity to reflect and get some of the answers to any of these questions? You know, so that's what I have for you. You know, being our own worst critic. You know, it gets keeps us in a stuck mentality. You know, so just want to encourage you between now and August the 12th, because that's when this astrological Lion's Gate it's supposed to be open, to use that time, so you find some quiet time, and but use that time to see how you are lined up. How are you lined up within yourself? How are you lined up spiritually? How are you lined up with your goals? How are you lined up with what you allow? What are you allowing to happen in your life? The people that's in your life, you know, are there people in your life that is building you up or tearing you down? Because you know the Bible says you either gathering together or you're scattering away. You know that is this point blank. Either the people in your life are either bringing you hope and joy and peace, encouragement, or they're pulling, gimme, gimme, gimme. You know, is that how you want to continue going on? Does that line up with where you're going? So that's basically what I wanted to say. I don't want to go all over it again. That's like 31 minutes, but I hope you got something from this. Until next time, remember who you are